continuing on with Colton's carburetor here. He had said that the this particular lever would fly up as he's going on the road. There's a couple of methods you could do to fix this, and that's put super glue on it, work it back and forth till you feel the grittiness come back, or you can go in here and just tighten this little nut right in here. I don't know if you can see that or not. It takes a little 8mm, and I've tightened that little nut, and now it's perfect, in excellent shape now. So time to start putting his carburetor back together here. We got a little bit of permanent Loctite on the threads of this thing here. He also had an issue with the with all that tear coming out. These little screws coming out on him. These little engines, they have a lot of power, and this is the Flying Horse model right here. So here's a little bit of permanent Loctite here. They have a lot of power, but they also have a lot of vibration and heat issues. These things run really hot, like scary hot. That's why we try to stay away from them. And they're really hard to modify too. You can't really modify them because this jug is a solid one-piece jug where the head, the block, and everything is one unit. And keeping it tight on there, you know, it's not very user-friendly, this particular engine. All right, his carburetor's going on back on here real good. Looking good. We'll put him some zip ties on there a little bit later. And let's see. All right. Such a beautiful day to be outside. So I was pretty startled this morning to see that, let me just show you this real quick. If you ever want to make your bike faster, you can roughen up the intake on these right here, and it helps the gas to atomize and have more potency. And also, when it comes to port matching, you notice you can see the outline of where the port actually is on here. The port is actually larger than the gasket. When they call it port matching, this is what we do, is we Dremel these out to match that, to get a little bit more speed out of these things. Just little things like that tremendously help the speed of these. And we'll put in a little bit of silicone when we reattach the carburetor on there, so there won't be any air leaks. So we build about 25 bikes a year, so we're always buying these engines, and we buy certain ones for the Adventure series and certain ones for the Punisher series. But we have just learned that you can't really get an engine kit now unless you pay like 165 bucks, and that is really scary, is what it is, because we are always buying those kits and always building, and I think we're going to hold off of building for a little while and just focus on repairing and standard bicycles until these come down, because there really isn't any money to be made, and I hate to charge so much. we will make 2 more after we sell the current stock that we have. We have a current stock of 3, well, 2 Punisher series, 1 Adventure series, and after this right here, we'll have to go up substantially, about $100 extra on our bikes to compensate for these expensive engines. But I think it'll come back down again. And we'll put a little bit of silicone inside of these little grooves in the carburetor, because sometimes when you have air leaks, it'll have an air leak way up inside of there. You can see where that little light is. All the way around there, we'll put some of that nice silicone, and it'll make them have a little bit more power and just run better. You gotta be careful not to get this actually up in the carburetor. That's not good for it up in there, but we're just filling these little gaps right here. Beautiful, beautiful. I feel good about that. Yeah, you can see it squishing out there just a little bit. All right. That's beautiful clearance right there. That looks nice. All right, I'm gonna tighten that on up there. Can't think of a better day to work on a bike. And we're gonna put a little bit around the edge of this thing too, just in case. Kind of just making it where that carburetor also will not come loose too. Oh, that thing will be sealed up nice. All right, carburetor's good. What is next? Let's do the brake lever configurement. That's a fancy word, fancy. All right, let's see. So this is what we got right now. He's got the clutch lever right now, and then he's got the brake lever, and of course the gear. The gear should be up here. We're gonna switch all this around, and it's just really hard to kind of get to the brakes when you're hitting the gas and stuff. So we'll switch it around.